Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Syagap Rismala, and today I'm going to present about the final project research proposal presentation video or speaking for academic purpose. As for the members, there is Syagap Rismala, and that's me, Jagat Satria Cakrabuana, Muhammad Fadil, Rusmana, and Zulfan Zainuri. The title is Utilizing Podcasts as Authentic Materials to Enhance Listening Comprehension and Speaking Fluency. And for the introduction, there is research problem in the context of English as foreign language, or EFL. Learners face difficulties in mastering listening comprehension due to factors such as speech rate, limited vocabulary, and various accents. Students in Indonesia, as an EFL country, generally have limited opportunities to use English outside the classroom, causing English instruction to focus more on reading and writing rather than speaking skills. Traditional teaching methods have proven less effective and less beneficial compared to the integration of innovative technologies such as podcasts. A lack of understanding of classroom instructions and materials also becomes an issue faced by students in learning English. So the main issue is that students struggle with listening and speaking because they rarely get authentic exposure to English outside class. For the next, there is our research purpose is to investigate whether there is a significant difference in listening and speaking achievement between students taught using podcasts and those who are not. And the second is to examine students' attitudes, perception, and feedback toward the use of podcasts as a tool to enhance their motivation and listening comprehension. And the third, the purpose is to explore the positive impact of podcasts in providing authentic and varied input for EFL learners. In other words, we want to prove whether podcasts can really make a difference both in skills and motivation. And there's also the research questions are, does the use of podcasts result in a significant difference in listening and speaking achievement among EFL students? And the second one is, what are EFL students' perceptions and attitudes toward the use of podcasts in improving their listening comprehension and learning motivation? These questions are the backbone of our study. They guide what we measure and how we interpret the results. And for the research design, this study uses a quasi-experimental method with a non-equivalent group pre-test, post-test design. A mixed method approach, quantitative and qualitative, can be used to collect data from tests and questionnaires interview. This design allows us to compare two groups fairly so we can see the real impact of podcasts. And for the next is population sampling method and sample. Population EFL students, for example, 12th grade high school students or university students with low English proficiency. And for example, two groups, namely an experimental group and a control group. For example, like the total of 60 students divided by 2 for experimental group 30 and control group 30 students. And for the sampling method, can be selected based on similar proficiency levels, such as comparable average scores or through cluster random sampling. Next, for data collection methods, test, pretest, and post-test to measure listening and speaking skills. And for the questionnaire, is used to assess students' feedback and the level of motivation or perception toward podcasts by using a Likert scale or semi-closed question. And for the interviews, semi-structured interviews may be conducted to further explore students' experiences and perspective on using podcasts. So we're not only looking at numbers, but also at students' voices and experience to get a complete picture. And the data analysis method, we're using quantitative analysis using paired sample t-test and independent sample t-test to compare the mean scores of pre-test and post-test between groups. One way ANOVA can also be applied. And qualitative analysis using sample percentage and descriptive analysis for questionnaire data, as well as coding procedures to reduce interview data into thematic categories. And this is for the references we're using. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.